Hello there, everybody. This is Muffin Man 881. That's Revelation Attack on PS4. It's good to be back with you. It's been a while since I've uploaded anything. Since then, we've had Division 2 come out, and currently we're in the midst of Tier Update 5. And if you're not familiar, if you're not up to date with the game, the skill abilities and skill capabilities have been brought up exponentially to contend with raw damage builds, and it's honestly really fun, and they've done a lot of good things with the skill, and you're seeing a lot of YouTube videos, a lot of content creators out there putting up their own builds and everything, and there's a lot of creativity going on. I'm loving to see it, but there's a few things that I've done that I've got in a build that I haven't seen anywhere else, so I figured it might be a good opportunity to jump on, upload something. So with my particular build, I call it Skillsplosion. It is pretty much as much electronics, as much utility, and as much explosives damage as I possibly can put on the thing. Now, if you're not familiar with the new BTSU Datagloves, the whole build pretty much revolves around these gloves, and for multiple reasons. But first, let me show you, at the scoreboard at the end of the day, I'm hitting that 558,000 damage per seeker on my clusters, and there's 4 clusters, each of them hitting that hard. That's a really good number right there. In part to do with 2 mods I've got on the seekers. I've got a 97% damage and a 90% damage. That's a 2.9 and a 2.7K mod. So just really excellent mods that are helping me a great deal to get up there. I'm also running some skill haste on a good amount of skill haste, but that gives you an idea, with the amount of explosives damage that I've managed to pack into this thing. And with the BTSU Datagloves, it's centered around applying status effects to increase your abilities, increase your damage output. And that being said, my other skill is the Firestarter Chem Launcher with 6+ ammo, so I'm up to 8 ammo, and a radius skill mod as well. And this allows me to gives me a better chance to get application of fire onto an enemy, and I'll show you at the end of my explanation. I'll put up some highlights to show you kind of what I'm talking about. So let's get into the build here. Like I said, the BTSU Datagloves comes with a suite of different talents. To start us off, elemental gadgetry skills that apply status effects gain 50% status effect duration and 50% skill haste. So basically, you're able to use more and more often of skills that are going to apply status effects. So it really builds into itself. Energy infusion, this is the big one. Whenever you apply a status effect, your gloves become infused with that effect for 60 seconds. So when that's a great amount of time. While you're infused, you gain 10% skill damage, 10% skill healing, and 10% skill duration and repair for each utility attribute that you've got. So you want to build as many utility attributes as you possibly can, and this build's got 13. So basically, 10% times 13, whenever I'm infused, I'm doing that much more damage, that much more repair, and those sorts of things when I'm infused. So that's the name of the game, is getting that infusion, getting as much utility as possible, and really just bringing down the hammer in effect. Applying the same status effect while infused does not refresh the duration of the infusion, but if you use a different status effect, you can apply that new status effect and it will reset the counter. It's charged proxies. Whenever you throw a skill 1.25 seconds after landing, it creates an explosion, applying that infused status effect to all enemies within 6 meters. So it's a pretty good amount. That's a expanded grenade effectively. Enemies affected by the infused status effect will take 50% more damage from your skills. So again, when you can line all of these particular instances up, like say on a tank or on a heavy, you can do a tremendous amount of damage, and you really see it, and it's really satisfying, and it's a lot of fun, a lot more fun than just throwing dumb damage out of an LMG. So, and we'll get into my mods on this here in a second, but the second part of this build, another real cornerstone, is in particular this Alp Summit Armament Backpack, the Element Outdoors Rucksack. This one in particular gives you 2 utility mod slots. The other Alp Summit backpacks don't give you 2 utilities. This one gives 2. So this one not only gives me 2 utility mod slots, but it rolled with a destructive, which is allowing me to build my explosive damage, self-adjusting because I've only got 2 blue attributes, and it came with 2 utility attributes rolled, which it came with a good amount of skill haste, and then I rolled up my skill power. So this backpack alone is giving me 4 utility attributes just on one piece. So it's a really fantastic piece. You want to keep an eye out for this particular backpack. I would like to note that skill power roll that I've put on there, that roll came off of a backpack that I crafted on the crafting station here in Tier U5, Update 5. You understand that you can do that now, and that don't just sit on your materials. Go create some backpacks, some holsters, some chest pieces, and give yourself additional roll chances at better attributes, because that's what I did here. I got this one off of that, and I'm really happy with it. It's the highest I've seen thus far. I'm always looking out for higher, but just remember that that's another avenue for getting better rolls as well. So next we're going to go to my chest piece, and this is probably what I'm most proud of. This is something I haven't seen anybody else address. Maybe there has been, but I have not seen it. The resource harness, the ongoing directive resource harness, you have to understand that you are able to roll some exotic attributes on gear set pieces, that being, you can get poison resistance or shock resistance on your backpack. Well, you can roll explosives damage on this, at least this chest piece, and as you see here, I've got 19.5% explosives damage. So even though I'm losing out on a destructive talent by having this chest piece, I've pretty much got a de facto destructive talent just with that attribute roll. And since it's in an attribute roll, assignment, it's pulling double duty because it's adding to my overall attribute utility attribute roll total. So it's kind of, it's a really, when I first came upon it, I thought it was a pretty good idea. I've got that, a little bit of headshot damage, and then I rolled up some skill power. Some of you might recognize that skill power roll. A huge shout out to the community for pointing out that lower level clans actually their clan vendors have different roles than the level 30 clan, and some of them have some really great roles. And just a huge shout out, huge kudos to the community, those guys that will go in and look and put up online anything that would be good. You guys are y'all are the real MVPs here. So big shout out to you folks. Now, so huge skill power roll there, 2 utility attributes, and the ongoing directive chest piece has 2 utility mod slots and a defensive mod slot. So again, with my chest piece, I'm also getting 4 utility attributes. So just on my backpack and my chest alone, I'm up to 8. So just on 2, that's really great. It's doing a lot of heavy lifting to get me where I want to go overall. So the third piece I'll show you is my holster. I wasn't springing for any particular brand on this. It just happened to be the holster that I had rolled with destructive and a utility mod slot. So I was able to take a utility skill power roll off of an Araldi Holdings holster, which if you watch out for them, the ones that don't roll with a talent, and they only roll with one attribute, so all of that attribute has a chance to roll really high numbers. So keep an eye out on those holsters. And that's what I found here. I found one with a lot of skill power, 735. So just keep an eye out for those. I'm also getting a offensive mod slot here. So I'm putting rifle damage because I'm using dual rifles, and we'll get into that in a little bit. So just between those 3 items, they're doing the heavy lifting of getting my skill power amount up to a really good amount. Now, my mask and my knee pads, since I'm able to get skill power up and above the 3,000 threshold by having those 3 items plus my Providence 10% one piece, I am able to roll my mask and my knee pads into skill haste. So my mask is a China Light because it gives 10% explosive damage. It rolled with a good amount of damage to elites, which I liked. It had destructive already on it, and a utility attribute roll. So what I do is, since I have 2 of those 3 pieces that I like, I can roll my utility attribute, and I can keep rolling it up if I find something better. If I find a better skill haste attribute roll, I can keep putting it on this mask. And that's really what you want to do, is you want to be able to have your pieces open-ended to improve in the attribute that you want. So that's my mask and my knee pads. Providence roll because comes with 10% skill power, and that's ultimately what's putting me my skill power up and above 3,000. Without it, I'd be around 2,900 something. So it came with destructive, came with utility attribute roll, and it also comes with another offensive mod slot, which I've also put up some rifle damage on that. So again, it had the destructive, and it had the utility mod roll attribute roll. So I'm able to put skill haste on it, and I'm able to keep an eye out for any higher rolls than this, and then I can put that on here if I want to. It's open-ended in that fashion. I can keep improving the build in that way. So there's my rolls, there's my gear pieces. So now I'm going to go back and show you, getting up to 13 utility mod attributes. Obviously I've got, so there's 7 pieces, there's 7 attribute rolls on the gear pieces, and then I'm getting 2 utility mod slots on my backpack, my gloves, and my chest piece. Now, what I do is there's a utility mod, the repository mod, that can roll with explosives damage, and that's what I've got. That's what I've sought them out. I've saved them. So I've got one with 3%, one with 4.5%, one with 2.5%, one with 3.5%, one with 3%, and another with 3%. So, and that adds up. That's off the top of my head, that's about 19.5% explosives damage just with those 6 mods. So that's again, it's almost an additional destructive mod. destructive talent, all just in those mods. So, and those aren't even, some of those mods can be improved, and I'm always looking out for better ones. I've got skill cap to sacrifice because it's going to roll with a lower skill power, so I can keep putting on better ones as I find them. I'm always watching out for them. So, and with everything, including the 25% explosives damage I'm getting from the demolitionist specialty, I'm getting about 153, 154% additional explosives damage. It's a huge amount. It's really great, especially since I'm losing out on any explosives damage with my BTSU Datagloves. So from here, so I should explain that with the gloves, you want to the goal is to set on fire opponents with ease, as efficiently as possible. Infuse your gloves and then throw your seeker mines, and then those hit, with all that explosives damage and with all the applied infusion damage, for a really killer build, a really killer PvE build. And it can make things interesting in PvP. Haven't really tested it out much in there against players, but I've done a little bit of Dark Zone farming with it, and it does hold its own, especially in invaded, occupied Dark Zone landmarks. My weapons that I'm using, with as much explosives damage as I'm toting around, I'm obviously going to be using Merciless. Merciless is a rifle which binary trigger. When you press the trigger, it shoots, and when you let go of the trigger, it shoots. The bullet it shoots when you press down the trigger, it shoots a regular bullet that has a quote unquote a primer, and when you shoot the bullet that when you let off, it shoots a detonating charge. So if you connect on both shots, it will apply an explosives damage. And you can apply the first shot up to 5 times before you can hit for a maximum damage capability with that back end shot. So I'm taking advantage of my explosives damage in the build with this weapon. It melts armor, it melts dogs, melts tanks, anything like that. Goes down pretty quickly. It also stuns opponents with the explosives damage. It's all around. It's really fun. The firing cadence on the weapon is something you got to get used to, but overall, it's a very fun weapon to use. And then on my other weapon, I switch between a SIG CQB that's got perpetuation, which when I get a kill with it and I've still got it out and I haven't reloaded, it's effectively going to give me an additional seeker cluster mine charge. So instead of 4, it's going to give me 5. And I can hit that pretty regularly, so it's good to have. And then rooted while you're in cover, all skill damage and healing is increased by 25% for 10 seconds, which is lost when you exit cover. But you're going to be using cover quite a bit because I'm not built up for a lot of armor here, so I want to be using cover as much as possible and using my longer range weapons from cover. The other weapon that I tend to go to is an accuracy enhanced urban MDR. Shoots quick. I can nail headshots fairly quickly, and when I kill with the headshot, it gets spiked to activate. Headshot kills grant 35% skill damage for 20 seconds. So if I'm feeling good, I'm feeling zesty, I'll break this out and I'll use that instead. I don't typically go the sniper rifle route, the all or nothing shot with the M700. I like that weapon, especially on my sniper build, but I'm trying to be moving a lot quicker, and so that I tend to go with the rifles instead of the sniper rifle in this situation. And then my sidearm. Now, folks, don't sleep on your sidearm, especially since you can get recharged on it. which when equipped, skills deployed at full armor have 25% skill duration, charges, and ammo. So right off the bat in your fight, you're gonna have additional cluster mine charges going in. So it's really good to have, especially right up front at the start of a fight. But also don't forget that special ammo that you find out in a mission, that ammo can be applied to create an infusion for your gloves. So what I typically do is I will put that special ammo on my sidearm instead of my regular weapon, and so instead of wasting that ammo all in one clip, I've got 30 chances at making an infusion. I've got 30 chances at inflicting the status effect on an enemy and get them to be affected while my cluster mine is going in, because if it explodes and they're being affected by that status effect at the same time, because it will engage that additional 50% damage. So it's way more tactful to put it on your sidearm and use that and ration those special ammo shots with your sidearm. So keep that in mind when you're out playing. Try to work that in and be a little better with your special ammo. But so that's effect. That's my build there. Hits like a truck. It's really fun. Let me know if what you see, what you got, any questions, if you see anything wrong or anything, need any more explanations. Let me know. I'll get back to you, and I'm gonna put some good highlights up here at the end and kind of show you, what it looks like in action, because it's a lot of fun, and so yeah. So I'm just gonna let it roll from here. Thanks for coming by.
You're gonna need to get the access codes to the